Well, hello, I'm back. I'm sorry I can't do the silly entertaining stuff any longer because that's not what my life has been like for quite a while. You see, on 9 June 2008, I became the target of something that's known as sadistic stalking. Don't get me wrong, the people who do this kind of thing can't help it. But me having compassion and empathy does not mean that I have to give up my entire life just because there are people out there who are not capable of empathy and compassion. In my case, it turned out to be two brothers who are doing this. One of them is a hacker. I didn't even know that one of them existed. Some of you now know who I'm talking about. That's your problem. The problem with Portsmouth is that Portsmouth allows a heck of a lot of viciousness. It allows people who are into viciousness to thrive, and not in a good way. So my life, every aspect of my life gets sabotaged, has been sabotaged for over a decade. As some of you know, and as I've mentioned in another video, I've lost my home, I've lost everything I owned. I've just told my clients, sorry, I can no longer work for you, because every time I try to do something, whoever is fucking around with my computer does something to make my life, my work very difficult. A simple example is that when a client told me that he is slightly dyslexic, the document I was working on for him suddenly became garbled up, had attracted a virus that made it look like I was dyslexic. Ha ha ha. There was an easy workaround for that. I could no longer work on my computer, had to do the work online. Never mind, I did that. But this kind of stuff happens every time I want to do something, and sometimes it's really, really bad. And the only way, disruptive, damaging for clients, this has been going on for over a decade. And the only way I can protect clients is by simply no longer doing any work for them. As animals have gotten hurt and one or two actually killed just to get at me, I cannot rule out that whoever is doing this stuff to me may also get to clients just to be able to get to me. I can't afford that. My clients can't afford that. I have reported this to Portsmouth police a million times. I filed the first police report in Southampton in October 2008, not knowing exactly yet what was going on. I mean, if you've never dealt with stalking or sadistic stalking, you have absolutely no idea what's going on, and you're in a different culture, and some people are telling you that what you're dealing with is just local humor, even though there's absolutely nothing funny about it. You have no idea what to make of it. You only discover what's going on when it's way too late, when your entire life has already collapsed. But fear not, I looked at the statistics. Alone in Portsmouth are approximately 45 women in exactly or more or less the same situation as I am. So I am not alone. And if we team up, which I've tried to do several times by spreading flyers around town, we are going to feel a heck of a lot less powerless. So maybe that's what we should do. The only thing is, I have no way I don't know how to reach you. I don't know who you are. I have on occasion looked at women who are approximately my age and who seem to look a little bit sad until they smiled at me and I realized that they were fine. But then again, I usually smile and seem to be fine too, while I have been the target of something extremely destructive for over a decade. So, in other words, it's very hard to tell who is a victim and who isn't. I've always called myself a target because I refuse to be victimized. But I am a victim. I am being held hostage by someone who can't help what he's doing. I live like a little rabbit in a cage. I get poked and prodded and cut open just to see how I respond to that. That's the situation that I'm in. Sadistic stalking is a phrase that forensic psychologist Lorraine Sheridan came up with approximately 20 years ago. She did a lot of work with British police, but British police don't seem to have any recollection of that. As we all know, all over the world, stalking victims are failed. Portsmouth police is just one big mess. One of the two people who is doing this to me appears to be a police officer or a former police officer, a detective, I think, an investigator. And in any case, both of them have friends among police officers. And, well, here in Portsmouth, people think that the sun shines from their behinds. And they prefer to be fooled in some cases, I think, and that may have to do with the situation here in the UK. And I'm going to leave it at that for today. I will talk about this a little bit more. I will also talk a little bit more about my friend with NPD. The people who are doing this to me also appear to have NPD with psychopathy. And one of them perhaps has only psychopathy. Their cases are very extreme. The friend of mine who has NPD, her NPD is much less extreme. I'll discuss other things later on, and maybe I will be able to interject a little bit of humor. If you want to support me, then you cannot, well, maybe you can use PayPal. You may be able to use my Gmail address and PayPal me some money. I have tried to escape maybe 8 times if you count all the attempts that I made. I walked away on foot twice. Once somebody spotted me walking away and I was intercepted by police because I was walking on the side of the highway because I had to, the motorway. The second time my suitcase broke. I spent the night in a bush somewhere, but my suitcase had broken, so I had to come back. I've also left twice by bus, and I am very, very, very disappointed in a few people who let me down then, and I will never forgive them for that, because if I forgive them for that, I'm being an idiot, even though forgiveness is often a very positive, healing thing. In this case, forgiveness is out of the question. I've also walked into the sea once, as some people here know, and I made an earlier attempt to relocate back to Amsterdam, which was thwarted, which I didn't realize back then. I didn't realize back then that all my computers had already been hacked to smithereens at that point, which was approximately 12 years ago. And when I could no longer keep whoever is doing this out of my computers, I eventually realized, because they were leaving signs behind, even notes, that they were going into my flat just to access my equipment. And I'm sorry, I never saw that coming. I think I would have needed to be really, really, really paranoid and crazy to anticipate something like that. That strangers would be going into my flat just to get access to my phone and computers, I should say. Because that's not something that happens in a normal life scenario. Oh, and I should mention this, the people who have been doing this to me, they cooperate with at least one person who is Royal Mail, and their activities have included the theft of lots of items from my mail. On one occasion, a package was found covered in mud with random letters from a period of, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. Apparently had been turned into Royal Mail, was handed to me neatly wrapped in plastic. Lots of stuff has gone missing. At some point in a short period, 3 bank cards went missing, and right now my driving license has gone missing. I figured it had been stolen from my mail, but I was unable to get through to the DVLA for many months. I finally got through to the DVLA, and yes, the DVLA sent me my new driving license on 13 June. So whoever took my license, and I think his name starts with an N, because it's usually the person with an N who does that, the person whose name starts with an N, or at least he pretends that it's him, and maybe he gets duped by the people who do that to me, so that it looks as if it's him and it's in reality somebody else. I have no way of ascertaining that. Whoever did this, thank you very much, but not really.